don't think you can marginalize us, you'll find that the Afrikaner can be a very difficult opponent if you push us in a corner. Don't do that.
My question first is to you, Klaas. Just give me an idea of what this day is all about. What happened today? What is the whole occasion about?
Johan, I'm going to try and see if I can give it to you accurately. The crosses has been presented. And I'm not sure. I don't know if you can see anything here behind me.
Yes, I can.
There's the crosses that's been presented, which will be handed over to the families tomorrow. Christoph Conradi, her parents, Christo and Christa Morrison, were murdered in the Free State last year. She's the hostess, and she's going to hand over the crosses to the families. The families were here. There's a lot of families that sadly couldn't make it, but they will get information, or they will get media from us with regards to what happened here tonight. We had a couple of songs by Dean Chauncey, who's got a specific passion for the White Cross Monument. Then Donnie from the West Station was also here, but he wasn't on the lineup for tonight. It was just basically a get-together for the people to see what's happening and to familiarize themselves with the White Cross Monument. And then, of course, the spectacular sight of the lights here behind me. If I can show the viewers that, that's basically what it's all about. Everybody has gone home. Everything is busy quieting down, and we are almost in the process of switching off generators and then tucking in for the night.
Now, we've spoken before, Klaas, and I want to say to our viewers and listeners as well that Klaas has assisted me in getting hold of victims to talk to the actual victims of farm murders in the past. And I was touched by how it's difficult to say this, touched by Klaas's not only commitment, his deep passion for what he's doing, but also the effect that all of this has had on you throughout the years, Klaas.
Yes.
How did you experience today? I mean, this is a very special moment, but you've been for a long time deeply involved with this. And I know in our private discussions as well that you are deeply emotionally also affected by all of this. This is not easy. So in the context of that, how did you find today? How did you feel today? How did you experience today?
I lost it. I just burst out and cried because it's such an emotional area for me. But then I must say, I've got somebody that was nagging me until I one day picked up the phone and I got into contact with Johan right next to me.
I want to just mention to viewers as well that you run, I think, something like a weekly program on YouTube now for some time now, in which you are updating people, telling people about farm murders, farm attacks, the violence on the farms on a regular basis on YouTube. Yes. Tell me about that.
John, I do a weekly, just about every Friday, I do a Friday news flash. In that news flash, I go through the accumulated farm attacks for the week, and also an update of where we stand with farm attacks and farm murders for the month so far. And then I speak about what's going on in South Africa and how it affects the safety of our citizens. Now that it's fire season, I present a bit of fire news and look at the different fire maps. And then it's a bit of important dates coming up, like the White Cross Monument, cross planting. And then there's also a bit of promotion for a couple of close friends of mine, of which Johan is one. He's doing a tremendous work for us, and you'll get to that in a moment. There's also somebody else, Chris from Mulder. He's very active in the Northern Cape, where there's not been rain for several years now, and the farmers are really battling there, and I'm promoting him as well to get to see if we can help him, help the people in the Northern Cape.
I'm going to ask you, we've set up this interview within the last 10 minutes or so, so nothing is prepared. I really am touched by the images that I see on the background. As I said, I have also had the privilege of talking to some of the victims, so I have some idea of the pain that you guys and all the families and everybody that is involved is experiencing it. But I'm going to ask you to do something that might be tough. I don't know, Johan, if you could do that, but I would like you just simply to actually walk us to that front row of crosses that you just talked about now. And if you can, share with us some information of some of these families. Take your time if you can. I don't know what the light will be like. I don't know if there will be enough light or not, but if you could do that, I would really I want to share with the world the heart of the story.
We can take, I don't know if you can see this one, Klaas Prinsloo. It's a young farmer. He and his family, his wife and 3 children, they stayed in just outside of Rustenburg. And in 2018, while having a braai outside, he was confronted by suspects. He was brutally killed. He was dragged into the house, and his small children saw him actually died in front of him. I was the day after the incident. I was with the family, and we went out to clean the house and to basically move them from the farm, and to attend the funeral as well, where you had to sit with, like I said, his wife, very small children between 4 years and 12 years old, to saw their dad passed away in that manner. It's no one deserved to see something like that.
Yeah. Klaas, would you mind if we go to another cross and ask Johan to share with us the story, if Johan can?
This is Johan Eunice. He passed away. Also had 3 children, and even his son never saw him. He was born about 2 weeks after his dad was the funeral. So he had to grow up, that he had a dad, but he never had a chance to meet his dad. And also the trauma that his sisters and their wife especially had to go through is something that no one really deserves to be part of. And like, you can go on and look at these ones. The one here behind, I just saw it, Aaron Zeeman. I was on his farm last week. From Aaron, he's 87, in Jan Kemdorp. He didn't do a fly, any hurt or anything, and he was brutally killed in his house. Again, each of these cases is people don't deserve what comes to them, and it's so sad to stand here. And every year, I pray and hope I don't have to see some new matters, but still it happens. And you come here and you walk into these crosses and think to yourself, but why did it happen? And there's no answer to really understand why something like this happened.
Klaas, you're right there amongst these crosses. If you could tell us how many crosses are we talking about over what period?
Johan, the monument was established in 2004, and since then, the crosses that is accumulated is around 3,000. This tomorrow we're planting 23 more murder crosses, and there's also special crosses. There's a couple of replants. So and we discussed it tonight that nobody considers the amount of farm murders between 2004 back to 1994 and also pre-1994. So there is more about farm attacks and farm murders in South Africa than just these 3,000 crosses that's been accumulating since 2004.
Yeah. Johan, it's difficult for me to imagine what it must be like to be there now. You are somewhere between, I think it is Polokwane and Mokopane, if I've got it right. In the language of yesterday, I guess it is Petersburg and Potgietersrus, and you're in the, is it called the Eysterberg? What goes through your mind if you it's nighttime, and I want to apologize to our viewers that the signal is not very good, but just what goes through your mind when you stand there with your friend Klaas and you look at these crosses?
I said this afternoon to someone, imagine if all these crosses can start speaking, what they will tell us. The trauma, the anxiety that some of these people had to went through and go through when they were brutally assaulted. It's very cold here where we're standing. A matter that comes to mind, the Hartswater matter that happened 3 years ago, in about 3 years, if I'm stated to be corrected, where the Brand family were so brutally killed in the winter. And they were left, Elsie, the daughter, I believe, and we believe that she was maybe still alive, to lie in a field. It breaks your heart. And for family members to also sit with that questions of why did it happen? Why our family? Why did our dad have to go through this? Why did my sister have to be killed in this manner? It just also makes me so emotional. And I can't really say, you can't put it into words. It's very, very difficult. And the emotions just run away with you. As we came in here from the main road, as I was coming closer, you just feel this anxiety in yourself to think, listen, you're going to a graveyard. I mean, this is a graveyard of how many people that had a nice life. They had good families. They had friends. They were laughing. They had their time. I mean, Hendrik Venter, today is his birthday. He was brutally killed. He was 81 last year on his farm outside of Kuruman. His family is not here, and I mean, they said today, last night I spoke and I had communication with them, and the question is still, but why? And we don't get to an answer for why. And the brutality every time comes up. Take what you want, but it's not for most of these people. They were brutally assaulted, killed, set alight, and it's unexplainable.
Klaas Prinsloo, Johan Kloppers, I think we're going to leave it there. I'm going to ask you, Klaas, Johan, if you'd be so kind. I'm sitting here far away from home here in Amsterdam. We want the world to see this. The world must see these images. So, Klaas, Johan, I'm going to ask you if you'd be so kind, once we say goodbye to each other, to take some pictures as you are right now of the crosses and some of the names, so we can put them on the screen. And I want to say thank you very, very, very much for taking the time out. I know it is a deeply emotional time for both of you. Thank you very much. We'll talk again. Johan, we'll be talking next Wednesday. Thanks so much, and the best of luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Johan.
I'm now talking to Dr. Corné Mulder at the White Cross Memorial. He's the leader of the Freedom Front Plus, where he had just addressed the families, friends, and supporters of the victims of farm murders, those closely attached to each of the 3,000 crosses that you can see behind Dr. Mulder. Dr. Mulder, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's a privilege to talk to you.
Yeah, the signal is not that strong. The image of Dr. Mulder is just frozen. We're going to try this, and if we don't manage this, we'll see if we can set up something for later. But let's see how far we can go now. When you arrived this morning at the Eysterberg, the mountain, and you saw the 3,000 white crosses, each one of those crosses remembering a farmer who had been brutally murdered, Corné, what was the first thought that went through your mind, and what was the one message that you felt compelled to bring to those gathered there today?
Yes, Ron, it absolutely touches one's heart. Just to put it in perspective, I quickly had to go to the United States this week. I was in Washington, and I only returned on Thursday night from Washington. And I then came back all the way up to the north, Limpopo, to this monument. And when I came here this morning, this is the reality. It's one thing in the White House to talk about farm murders, but then you come to a place like this, and as you correctly point out, each and every one of these crosses represents a person, farmer, or his wife, or a child that has been murdered brutally in South Africa in the name of nonsense, in the name of what? So it really touches one. And the message I wanted to bring to our people today here is that we hear you, we see you, we feel your pain, we understand what you are saying. But we cannot continue like this. We need a solution. We need an answer, because we are Africans. We are not Europeans. If I have to speak in the racial terms, I'm not European. I'm a white African. I'm determined. I'm going to stay in Africa. We've been here for more than 370 years. This is our home. And we can find a future and a solution here, and we are determined to do so.
What was your message to the people that you spoke to today? That's the first part of the question. And the second part of, you've obviously talked to people, you've embraced them, you've held them, you've touched their hands. What is it that they are saying to you? So both ends of the question.
I refer to a very famous quote that was said by Senator Robert Kennedy in 1966 when he was visiting South Africa. And if you go to the United States and you visit Arlington Cemetery, opposite his grave, there's this quote. And this quote basically says, it starts with one person that takes action against justice. It starts with one person that takes action against something that is wrong, and it creates a ripple. And over time, it creates many thousands of people start to do exactly the same. And that creates a strong wave of energy that comes forward against injustice. And this monument started with one cross some years ago, 2003. It started with one cross. Look what it looks like now. And the energy that came from this and what we are putting forward has now reached the office, the most powerful office on earth in terms of power, in terms of economic power, the Oval Office of the United States. And I think the message I gave to the people was, we are being heard. People are hearing what we are saying. They take note of what we are saying, and we need to continue as is. And then when you speak to the people themselves and you embrace families, you see tears in the eyes of mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers, you understand their pain, because these are our people. This is what is happening and what happened to their lives. And the reality is that we as Afrikaners need to unite. We need to come together. We need to take hands. We need to move forward, one determined people who wants to be in peace, who wants to live in peace with other people in South Africa and Southern Africa and in Africa, our continent. But we honestly believe that we as Africa...
Yeah, we've lost you there, Dr. Mulder, Corné, for a moment, but I got the sense of the message. Let me just ask you this. Many people, especially within government, the African National Congress government, dismiss these killings as ordinary crimes. But the brutality, the torture, and the psychological impact on rural communities often suggest something more. Do you believe farm murders are simply criminal acts, or are they, in fact, hate crimes, revenge crimes?
It's a pity that no one of the government was here today to attend and to see this reality and to meet the families of loved ones who have lost their loved ones in brutal murders. No, it's not crime. It's not ordinary crime. I know the argument is quite often used to say, but other people are killed as well, the Cape Flats, etc. Nobody fills stadiums with thousands of people and then chant in unison, kill the drug lord, kill the drug lord. No, that's not what's happening. It's kill the farmer, kill the poor. That's what's being said. So I've got no doubt, yes, in some instances crime is involved, but there's impunity in terms of how the government treats this. And as long as the government denies that this reality exists, we'll have this problem. Luckily, the focus is now from the White House on the South African government in this regard.
Yeah, the lines are really very bad, Dr. Mulder, but I'm going to push ahead. Are you still, as a political party, are you still pushing, and what are you doing to try to get the government to declare this a priority crime?
We will continue to do this until either it's done or until the current ANC government is removed from power. We will never let go on this because this is reality. It deals with ordinary people that are suffering because of this kind of thing that is happening. And their denial will not change anything. The fact is now, internationally, it's being internationalized. The fact is that the United States and other countries are taking a view on this, and they do not think that this is the right way to do things. And they will continue to put pressure. We will continue to do so. We will never let go and let up in terms of this. This is not normal. It is absolutely abnormal. Look behind me and can see for yourselves people being murdered on farms in cold blood. That is not normal.
Yeah, yeah. You said you've just returned from the United States of America. If you could deliver a message today, and I can imagine you can feel the force of the emotion as you are there, right amidst these crosses, what would your message be to the international community, to Europe, to the rest of the world, to the United States?
My message would be very clear that in Africa you have a small people, small group, small minority of people, the Afrikaner people. We're a minority. We've always been a minority, but we've been part and parcel of Africa now for almost 400 years. We are determined to survive and to live in Africa. We appreciate the fact that we've been issued refugee status. I don't want to make use of that ever. I want the future here. I want freedom in South Africa. That's what we need. That is what we're about. So we realize that we cannot do it alone, and we realize the implications when other countries and other nations reach out to South Africa and specifically to the Afrikaner. In my message, and what I found in the United States, in the White House, and in Washington was the United States wants to be a friend of South Africa. They want to trade. They want to get involved. And who is better positioned than the Afrikaner people being indigenous now to Africa to play that role of being a bridge between the West, between the United States and Europe towards Africa? We can play that role. We are committed to this continent and we will play that role. It's only a question of when this will be recognized. And we need the support from across the world. We are convinced that we are moving into a very positive development 30 years after the ANC came to power.
I'm going to make this my last question, Dr. Mulder. 30 years after 1994, many Afrikaners feel exhausted today. I'm asking you that question because you're standing there at that, on that mountain between those crosses. Afrikaners feel marginalized by law, pushed aside, still carrying the burden of history. At the same time, we see our community slowly being eroded by violence, discrimination, immigration. If you stand there today, what is your message to the Afrikaner people today? And what do they need most in this moment?
The Afrikaner people needs hope. They need a vision. They need to understand that our future is here, that we don't have to leave South Africa. We don't have to leave Africa. Our future is here. I can go to the United States, and I was there this week. I can walk in the streets, and they think I'm one of them until I open my mouth. Then they realize I'm not one of them. I'm an African. I'm from Africa. My future is here. And what Afrikaners need to understand and to know is we have survived for almost 400 years, despite all the odds. We are a very strong and a committed people. We intend to do so. And we don't want to be in conflict with anybody else in South Africa. We don't want to be in conflict with our black brothers. We don't want to. And we can live in peace and neighborliness together with other people. But recognize our right. Recognize what is important to us. Don't think you can marginalize us. You'll find that the Afrikaner can be a very difficult opponent if you push us in a corner. Don't do that.
Dr. Corné Mulder, leader of the Freedom Front Plus, thank you for being there and thank you for talking to me.
That was a privilege. Thank you very much.